Okay, so that's what we're going to see now, how to import the data into the database. So for that, I had identified the data set, which is the employees data set. Okay, so I have an employees data set. You could see here we have something called employees, and their respective data is inside this data set. Okay, so let me open this quickly. So this is called as an any. Okay, if you wanted to store your SQL statement, so where will you store is you will store that inside a file, and the extension for that file should be .sql. Okay, if it is a text file, the extension is .txt. If it is a Python file, it is .py. If it is a Java file, .java. In the same way for SQL file, it should be .sql. So any SQL statements that you're going to store, that should have an extension with .sql. It's very important. Okay, so this is how my SQL file is looking like. Okay, so what does the SQL file consist of is, it consists of couple of statements. Okay, when I execute the SQL file, this is going to execute all these statements together. Okay, so what is it trying to do? Let's try to understand that. It's actually, the first step is we are checking whether the employees database exists or not, and if not exist, if it exists, I'm going to drop that, and I'm going to recreate it by using create database command, and I'm going to use this employees database so that I can perform any operations I perform from this point in time will be executed on this database. Okay, now I'm saying select creating. Okay, this is just a kind of an information that is printing onto the console. There is nothing to do with this. Okay, and I'm gonna drop the tables if these exist. So drop table if exist, which is department, department manager, title, salary, employees, and departments. Okay, if these tables exist in employees database, these tables will be get dropped. That's what this means is. Okay, and now I'm going to create a table. The first one is employees table, which has employee number, date of birth, which is a date, the first name, last name, gender. It's an enum. We did not discuss about this. This is an advanced data type. We'll talk about this in the later point in time. It could be either male or female. That means it will allow either male or female to enter as a values for the gender. And you also have an hire date, which is the date. And we also have a primary key on this table. We'll talk about this in later point in time, what the primary key is and what a foreign creates. In the same way, we are creating departments table, department underscore manage, departments underscore manager table. We are also creating department underscore employees table, the titles table, salaries table, and we are creating some views. We will talk about what the view is, how is that going to help us. And now once the data has been created, this will start dumping the data. We also have something called dump files. If you look at it, these are called dump files. So these dump files are the files which has the data actually. So if I open load employees file, I could see the data that I'm gonna insert into the table. Someone is asking me how to do a bulk insert, correct? In the yesterday session. This is how you can do it. It's called as a bulk insert. That means I had prepared an insert statement and these are the respective values. See this? For my employee data, this is an employee ID, this is the date of birth, there's a first name, last name, gender, and the hire date. So you have how many rows? Look at this, you have such a huge data set it is. You have 3 lakh rows. It's a huge data set, correct? So you need to play with this type of data sets. Okay, so don't try I know most of when people teaching you, they will be hardly taking 10 rows or 15 rows, but that doesn't give you a understanding on how to optimize your queries. You should always need to play with the huge data. Okay. So in the same way, I have the salaries data set. I have load titles data set, employees underscore department underscore employee data set. Like that, I have all the data sets which are readily available, and I'm gonna execute only this file. Everything will be ready for me. That means when I execute this file, what is it going to do is it's going to drop the employees database if it exists. It's going to create the database. It's going to drop the tables. It's going to create the tables. And once the tables are created, data will be get inserted into those tables automatically. That is what this file is basically doing. Okay. So now how to execute it? That's the question, correct? So this is how you have to execute it. So for this, you have to go to your MySQL, okay? So how to go to my MySQL? How to go to, I need to execute this via command prompt. So to do that, you have to go to the location where your MySQL is installed. So whenever you install anything on your Windows, it will be inside the program files. Now look for MySQL. Okay. Now here you could see something called MySQL server. Okay. Inside this you have something called bin. Here you will be seeing the MySQL command. Okay. To make this available to your command line, what you need to do is you need to add this to the environmental variable. So what is an environmental variable? So how to add that to an environmental variable? I'm not sure how many of you finished your Java sessions here. If you had finished your Java sessions, you would have done this, where you would have created something called Java home, and you will be adding that to your path, which is your main path. The same thing you need to do it over here also. So for that, you have to open the environmental variable, edit the system environmental variable, click on environmental variable, open the path, click on edit path, and then put your path, which is MySQL path over here. Okay. So take this till the bin, and just go and add, just go and say new and add it over here. Okay, and click OK. This is a very important step. If you do not do it, you will get an error saying that command is not recognizable. Okay, so you need to do this step. If you don't do this step, when you say MySQL enter, it can't able to find the command. So this is going to be a very important step, let's say. Now I will open my command prompt. I opened my command prompt, and I'm going to execute. I will be navigating to the location where my data exists that I'm trying to insert. Okay, my SQL file exists. So my SQL file is basically inside this Qt folder, under the SQL, under the test underscore db underscore hyphen master. I will be providing this I will be providing this folder to you guys. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now I will navigate to the directory location. So now I'm inside the directory location. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to execute this command, which is MySQL -t and I have to input. This is called as an input operator. That means I'm going to provide an input to my command, which is MySQL -t. Okay, and which file I wanted to pass as an input to this? Employees.sql file. Correct. So employees.sql file. I'm passing as an input to this. Additionally, I should need to say -u, which is the user, the root user, and -p. So this will ask me to enter the password when I click enter. Now I need to enter my password and click enter. So this will start creating the databases, the tables, everything under that, and it will basically insert the data into the respective tables. That's what it's going to do. So it will take some time. It's doing all that. It will take some time. It's going to load the data into the MySQL. It's going to create the database tables, and it will load the data into the MySQL. If you wanted to do something very similar, you can do it through Workbench, but it's going to be a bit complex. Better to use the simplest way would be the command prompt. It takes some time. So it's done. It took almost 1 minute 38 seconds to create the data, to create everything per se. Now let's go to Workbench and check whether my data got created or not. Okay, I could see which database got created. By the way, let's go and check over here. Is which database? Employees? No, it should be. Let me go and check over here. Which database are you trying to create? Employees is the database, correct? So now let's go and check whether this employees database created or not. Okay, employees database got created, under which you could see all these tables: department, department name, department manager, employees, salaries and titles. All these tables got created under that. Okay, so this is the way how you can basically load the data into your MySQL. Okay, so if you wanted to load the bulk data, you can use this approach to do that.